Dinkra are symbols that represent concepts and was then used extensively for fabrics. Mr. Prince of Akan, an affiliate of the J.H. Kobnan Ketia Africana Center, who is also the head of social sciences at the African University College of Communications, explains further.
Dinkra symbols are actually non-verbal forms of communication in African societies, particularly among the Akans and then the Asante. Dinkra symbols gained their name and their popularity from the Akan cloth, right, which is called the Dinkra cloth. Now, the Dinkra cloth is normally used for funerals to bid farewell to people. So the word Dinkra itself comes from the Akan word Dinkra or Dinkra, which means goodbye or farewell. So in the past, most of the Asantes and by extension the Akans used to wear this cloth to say goodbye to people they had lost, then also to sympathize with families who had lost their dear ones.
Originally produced by the German clans of Nahafo, now Ahafo region centuries ago, Dinkra was the exclusive right of royalty and spiritual leaders and only used for important ceremonies such as funerals.
There's a very popular historical tradition that also explains the origin of the Dinkra symbol. And that is historical because there's evidence to support that story. We are told, for example, that one powerful Akan state, that was called the German state, which was located to the northwest of the former Asante state and also in parts of Cote d'Ivoire, was the origin of the Dinkra symbol. We are told that one of their kings by name German Hene Kojo Dinkra, which we believe was corrupted to Dinkra, made a replica of the Asante golden stool. And you know that the sacred stool represents the history, the unity, the power and authority of the Asante nation and also the Asante Hene. And so by making a replica of the stool, he was claiming that at the point he was also more powerful than the Asante state, and he was also indirectly disrespecting the Asante Hene. And so what the Asante Hene did, and at that time the Asante Hene was called Osei Bonsu Penyi, what he did was that he sent an emissary to the German state and told the Dinkra to surrender the replica of the golden stool to him. At the first instance, Dinkra did that. He surrendered the stool to the Asante emissaries. However, as soon as they got to the Asante state, he made a second golden stool. And that angered the Asante Hene. He sent another emissary to him to surrender the second golden stool to him. What he did was that he decided not to surrender the stool and refused to pay the 1,000 ounces of gold. That was the punishment for what he did. And then he decapitated the emissaries and killed them. And to do that means that he had broken the breach of diplomacy. And so the Asante declared war on the Germans. I have to say that historically this was a hard-fought battle in which the Asantes were defeated the first time initially. But the Asantes reinforced their army under the Bantama Hene, who was called Amankwetia, and then the Draben Hene. So after reinforcing their armies, the Asantes were able to defeat the Germans. The Asante army was so offended that they were looking for the German king to kill. But seeing the situation, he told his wife and then his council of chiefs to hide the replica of the golden stool, after which he committed suicide. He was buried with his army to prevent the Asantes from finding out. Unfortunately, they caught one of his sons called Apao, who was able to show them where his father's body was. After this, the 10,000 captives who were sent included Apao, his son. And we are made to believe that some of these prisoners were people who were skilled in the art of making these crafts. Specifically, they were skilled in the art of making impressions in cloth. So we are made to believe that these craftsmen also introduced this art to the Asante craftsmen, for which the Asantes adopted it and developed it over time and named it Dinkra after the former German king Kojo Dinkra or Dinkra.
Here are some examples of Dinkra symbols and their meanings.
One of the popular ones is what we call the Abedua. Abedua is actually the palm tree. And what the Abedua represents is that, look, as human beings, we are not self-sufficient. The Abedua is self-sufficient because all other trees will die, but it will survive. But human beings are not self-sufficient like the Abedua. We also can talk about the Jinyame symbol, which is so popular among the Dinkra symbols. Now, if you look at the Jinyame symbol, Jinyame simply means except God or only God. right? So as a religious symbol, it tells us that as human beings or as Africans, we can depend on God in times of difficulties or in times of misfortune, because God does not die. God is eternal. We also have this popular Dinkra symbol called Uwachidie, which is literally the ladder of death. Now, this symbol indicates to us that death is inevitable, that all human beings will die, irrespective of your socioeconomic background. And because death is a ladder, it means that it's a journey. Everybody is expected to climb that particular ladder.
Dinkra symbols stand strong even in contemporary times, with many people using them for a range of products with definitive meanings. In the world of jewelry, the arts, fashion, and even the world of architecture, these symbols are indigenous, unique, beautiful, and rich with meaning.